Hi everyone, my name is Karen Harker and I am the Development and Communications Manager for the Center for Safer Communities, which used to be called Turning Points Network.
Great. And I'm Carrie Rochford-Haig, and I'm one of the prevention educators who works with Karen at the Center for Safer Communities. And we're here today to talk about our big fundraiser, Steppin' Up to End Violence, which is coming right up.
It is coming up. It's coming really soon. May 2nd, 2026 is actually our date. And if you were there last year, you will remember that we announced our name change then. So don't get confused. It's the same fundraiser that you're used to, that always happens in Claremont for the last 20 years. But we just have a new name and a new logo this year. So for those of you that don't know, we'll talk just a minute about what we do as an agency. So we are an advocacy agency for survivors of domestic and sexual violence. We have direct services as part of the work that we do, and that is our work that goes directly to support people who are going through struggle for survivors. So that could be anything from going to court with them or going to the hospital, or it might just be supporting them through a phone call or doing some peer advocacy. We also have a 16-bed shelter, and that provides some temporary housing for survivors and their families when that is needed as well. And then Carrie, I'll let you talk about prevention education.
Sure. Yeah, so in addition to the direct services support that Karen was talking about, we also have our prevention education and community outreach, where we do work in the community to help build healthy relationships. So we actually work with students preschool through high school, providing classes where we talk about things like coping and empathy and boundaries, all of those really important foundational healthy relationship skills with the goal of preventing abuse. And then we also do work in the community. We provide training for school staff, for businesses and organizations to better understand what are the signs of healthy and unhealthy relationships and how could we support someone that we're concerned about. And those services, both the direct services and the prevention education, they're county-wide, so we cover all of Sullivan County with those services, and all of our services are free, which is why we rely so much on this incredible fundraiser.
That's right. Anyone who needs our help can just pick up the phone. We have a support line that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and you can talk to someone. And it doesn't matter what your story is or how much money you have or whether you're a woman or a man or if you have kids, or we can help you. And so that's kind of the work that we do, and we're here to talk about Steppin' Up because Steppin' Up funds some of that work. We would not be able to do the work that we do out in schools and for survivors without our Steppin' Up fundraiser every year, and without the support of this amazing community. So many people that I know will watch this are supporters of Steppin' Up, do know about Steppin' Up, have probably stepped up themselves over the years, and so... Or
maybe donated to someone else who is stepping up. Yeah.
So you probably have heard of it, at least, if you've been around Sullivan County for a bit. So so we also want to thank you for your support, in years past, and hope that you'll join us again this year.
And it's pretty incredible that we're talking about the 20th.
Yeah.
Because way back in 2007, when this event started, right, we were looking at another way to engage with the community and to try to get the word out about what we do. And, we thought, oh, well, let's explore this. And we had no idea the staying power of this event and the growing that would happen, right? Like we thought, okay, we'll see how this goes for a few years, but each year it continues to grow because I think people feel connected to their local community. They want to do something local to support people. And I think people also are aware that right now, probably more than ever, we need to support people around forming healthy relationships and preventing abuse, right? There's a lot that we hear everywhere that kind of speaks to the need for talking about healthy relationships. And so I think people really are excited to get behind something that is providing direct support to people right here. Proactive, right? Supporting people who need the help right now, right? Who are going through difficulties. And, like Karen, you said, domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual harassment, stalking, sex trafficking, right? Any of those issues that folks are experiencing, they can get support today. And then the prevention education is really about the being proactive, right? Preventing violence, right? Because we say the way that we end abuse is to prevent it. So we're really fortunate that the Center for Safer Communities really invests time and energy and services into both of those.
Yes, exactly. It's not just a reaction to or a response to crisis, but it's also trying to prevent that from happening in the future. And I think, I am relatively new to the Center for Safer Communities. I started working there in September, and I think one of the things that I have learned that gives me hope is that abuse and violence is totally preventable. It is not something that we have to accept as like, oh, well, this is just how it is. And I think I had kind of been thinking that way until I started working around prevention educators and advocates and hearing something different of like, oh, there is something that can be done about this. We're not completely hopeless or helpless. And Steppin' Up is like one of the ways that you can engage in this at a very local level. All of the dollars that we raise stay in Sullivan County. So this is not a fundraiser where, you're going to go pay someone's salary in California somewhere or pay for a building to get built in Texas or, somewhere in another country. While those things are great, a lot of people want to see things improved in their local communities. And that's what we're doing with this fundraiser. Your money stays local and it supports these two branches of our services. So details for this year's event. As I already said, it's Saturday, May 2nd, 2026. Registration or sign-in starts at 8:30. You don't have to be there right at 8:30, but if you like to be early to things, that's when it opens. At 9:45, there's a short rally just before the start of the race. And then at 10 o'clock, that is the start of the 5K. People run, people walk, people push strollers, people are in wheelchairs.
Walk their dogs.
People walk their dogs, people have kids in tow. And there's also a smaller 1 mile loop if that is more accessible or attractive to you. A 5K can sometimes be a little bit more than people want to do, especially if you're running. So, you could choose to do the mile loop. We also have an amazing cheerleading section. So if you're more into the cheerleading vibe, you're not into doing any of the distances, or maybe walking and running is just not something that you can do right now, then you can totally come and be a cheerleader, hold a sign, make some noise, eat some cotton candy and some popcorn. It's a great time.
And people can come as individuals.
Yes.
Right? They can just decide, I want to participate in this. They can sign up now to do that. They can decide that morning, hey, I feel like I want to do this.
Exactly.
There's no set registration fee or requirement. People set their own. Some people come and sponsor themselves for $10 and they participate. And some people are part of a team and they decide as a team that they want to set a fundraising goal and they work together to do that. But there's no requirement on our end. We have teams of all sizes that participate. We have friends and family teams that have 3 or 4 people, and we have businesses and organizations that have as many as 20 or 30 people on their team. And folks seem to really enjoy that. I think it adds to kind of the vibe of the event that we have all these teams representing different aspects of the community: education, business, faith communities, human services, social services, friends and family, just people that want to be involved in something positive in their community. And people come in a common color, or they sometimes get their own T-shirts. And you just look out at this sea of community members who are coming together on that day to be a visible show of support for people who are going through something difficult right now, for people who maybe had experienced abuse in the past, didn't know about a place like the Center for Safer Communities. Like, we hear that. People that will say, I wished I had known about this. Yes. That's part of why we do the education and outreach. That's part of what Steppin' Up is about, is we're kind of collectively, as a community, breaking the silence.
Yep.
And we're saying we believe that a safe community is possible,
yes.
and we're coming together as a group to show that. And I think that's what's so powerful about the event.
Exactly. I think, that show of support for people in our community who maybe have experienced this, or maybe know someone who's experienced this, that is almost more impactful than any dollar amount that we're able to raise, because that provides people with hope, that provides people with, oh, there are safe people out there, there are people who care out there, and that's super meaningful. Speaking of the money, though, that we raise, we want to talk a little bit about exactly where that money goes, because often people kind of want to know, if I'm going to give $50, where does that $50 go?
Yeah.
So I'll give you some examples from our direct services angle. So oftentimes when survivors come to us, they have immediate needs, often that are financial. It is not uncommon for abusers to control someone's finances as a part of the abuse. And so things like gas cards, gift cards to grocery stores, gift cards to get the phones that you can buy like at Walmart and stuff like that, that would be separate from a phone plan that would have other members of the family or unit. Those are immediate needs that we have all the time. Supplies for our shelter, so things like paper towels, toiletries, shampoo, things like that. Things that support our holiday program, so gifts for kids and moms and dads that might be displaced, and doing Christmas or doing a holiday that year is seemingly impossible, and we're able to give them an opportunity to still celebrate and provide some normalcy, especially for the kids who may not be at home anymore, and Christmas might be looking a little different that year. So that's kind of how some of the money in direct advocacy or direct services goes towards people who need it. What about prevention, Ed?
Yeah, so for prevention, there's kind of a wide range of ways that money can be used. We have some curriculum that have licensing fees, and so in order for us to be able to provide this curriculum to schools throughout the county, that the fundraising through Steppin Up helps to support some of the licensing fees. It helps to provide us the actual programs. So us going out into an elementary school and providing a 4-session program for students K through 6, right? That fundraising from Steppin Up is what allows us to be able to go out into the community and provide that support. Curriculum, right, is another cost that certainly the education team faces. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's, again, one of the real benefits of this fundraiser is that people can see their dollars at work all around them, right? Exactly. They can see us in the community and feel like I'm a reason why that family, those families are able to get support from the shelter, or that school is getting programming.
Exactly, yeah. And I will say about the education aspect, I have a background in education, and I was a high school English teacher for a while. And there's this big push in education right now for social emotional learning. And I think our community has it right, because what we're doing is, rather than asking teachers who have expertise in maybe math or English or PE to teach social emotional learning, we're actually getting experts who are trained in these things, who are trauma informed, who can work with students who may disclose something when they're working with a student and say, oh, hey, something's not right at home, kind of thing. That is the more appropriate way to teach social emotional learning, in my opinion, because you have the experts in the room who are able to handle those situations. Yeah. And you're also taking that burden off of teachers who, as we know, are just overrun with way too many responsibilities and not enough money to do the things that need to be done, and too many students and too many issues. And, so to the educators out there, thank you. And we're here to support you. We're here to take that burden off of you and say, hey, we'll talk to your students about boundaries. We'll talk to your students about when someone says no, you stop. Right? We're not talking about big, scary things most of the time, because, especially with younger kids, because it's not developmentally appropriate. It's really just basic how to have a healthy relationship, whether that's with a friend or a parent, or later on, someone that you're in a romantic relationship with of some kind, right? So I think all parents, I would assume, probably want their kids to learn things like boundaries and empathy and stuff like that. And so the more that we can get into classrooms and community spaces and other places where we can get this information out, the better, and the more supported this community is on that educational front, I think.
And I'm glad you brought up the social emotional learning, because I think people are hearing that phrase more and they may not know what that means or how does that actually prevent abuse, right? But those skills of like self-awareness, right? Knowing your own thoughts and feelings, social awareness, like to be aware of what's going on around you and how is your behavior impacting other people, and being able to read other people's body language, right? Responsible decision making, right? And healthy coping. We see, right, at the Center for Safer Communities what's happening for people who are in relationships with people who didn't learn those skills. Right. And so when they're angry, right, they're acting in ways that are harming other people because they didn't learn healthy coping skills, and how to deal with big emotions in a way that didn't hurt someone else, or they maybe are having trouble even I think we assume that everybody understands and has empathy, but empathy is something we have to teach. And so when we can teach it at a young age, again, we're helping to prevent abuse, right? Because that ability to take someone else's perspective, that ability to see how you're impacting someone else is a really critical skill for being able to prevent abuse. But it is skills that has to be taught, right? That have to be taught. It's not something we can just assume that everyone has. And so it's a huge component of the work that we do, along with, as Karen said, the trauma-informed approach, like understanding how traumatic experiences, how toxic stress impact the brain, right, which impacts then our ability to relate to other people, to even be present and access information and education. It's all so connected. We're doing more work with schools around trauma-informed support. So when people support Steppin' Up, they're directly supporting that kind of work.
Yes, yeah. So as a former educator, it's just really cool to me to see how we support schools in this way. It's like, it's not indirect really, but it's like, just by kind of taking this off of their plates and saying like, hey, just schedule with us, we'll come into your classrooms. And I know for teachers, that's probably really nice too, because maybe they get a little bit of a break and they don't have to do quite as much lesson planning for that day because Carrie's gonna come in and teach instead. So, I think it's a win-win, and it really gets the expert in the room teaching the students what they need to know to form healthy relationships in the future, and also that self-awareness piece of like naming, I think you call them like mixed up and confused emotions or something, like just being able to notice like, wait a minute, I'm not feeling right. Something's not right. I don't know what it is yet, but something's not right. Like that is so valuable. And so many people turn that off. And so like just being able to tell students like, hey, when you feel that icky feeling in your stomach, listen to it, right? Like, that is something, right? Don't turn that off. So,
and we also have the training for staff, and we also offer workshops for families, right? Because families are the early and best educators around a lot of this. So if we can help families to know how to talk to their kids about boundaries and how to talk with their kids about empathy and healthy coping, then we carry this information even further. So that's, again, when people are supporting Steppin' Up, they're helping us be able to provide these workshops to train school staff, to meet with families. I mean, one of the things that we're hearing more and more is families are really concerned about digital boundaries and digital safety and how to keep kids safe, where so much of their lives they're interacting with people online. It definitely all relates back to the boundaries, right? But we have workshops that are specific for helping families develop open and trusted communication with their young people so that they can talk about boundaries and talk about, how to keep ourselves safe when we're interacting online. And we know that that's where kids are spending a lot of time. We want to help them to be safe there.
Yes, for sure. And I think, thinking about we don't just teach K-12, right? The majority of the students that we teach are K-12, but we have curriculum that's appropriate for adults, right? We have the One Trusted Adult curriculum as well that's kind of about being a healthy adult in so that you can be in kids' lives and be someone that a kid could come to and say, hey, something is not right, or I have mixed up and confused emotions about something and I just need to talk to someone. We know that that's a protective factor for kids if they have a trusted adult in their lives, and a lot of kids maybe don't have that at home, and it's actually probably good to have a trusted adult external from the home, just because then it's not someone who's kind of wrapped up with the daily life and goings on of the family, right? It's someone who has a little bit more of an outside perspective.
And for some kids, it might be that their trusted adult is at home, but for
Right.
other kids, it might not. And
Might
we
be a
talk
coach or a
about
teacher,
trusted
yeah.
adults in the community, exactly like a coach or a youth group leader, right?
Yes.
Or it might be a friend's, parent.
Parent, yeah.
Right? So the more that, and the One Trusted Adult program really looks at being what they call the ABCs as adults, being accessible, boundaried, and caring.
Yeah.
Right? And so the more we can help more adults to feel like, okay, I can do that. I can show up for young people in my life in those accessible, boundaried, and caring ways. We're building stronger safety nets for kids, right? And I think a lot of people listening are aware, right? And those of you, right, watching this now are hearing more stories in the news about abuse, about child sexual abuse, about sex trafficking. And like you said at the beginning, Karen, like all of that is preventable. That's the hope that we hold every day,
Yep.
an active kind of hope that we hold every day at the Center for Safer Communities. And the way that we do that is by helping more adults to know about how do we keep young people safe? What do we do when we see concerning behavior? Because even as adults,
Right.
we may recognize someone else's behavior and blurred boundaries, and we're not sure what to do about that.
Right.
Or how do we talk to that person about that? Or how do we talk to a coworker? Or that's all part of the prevention education that we're doing, because we know that sex trafficking, child sexual abuse, right? Any kind of abuse, it thrives in secrecy and shame. And we're trying to take away those layers and say that as a community, we have a responsibility to, as adults, help protect young people for sure, and help other adults know how to show up for each other.
Yeah.
Maybe they're concerned about a coworker, maybe it's someone in their family or a friend, and they're just not even sure, how do I help my friend? We have folks who call us, right, 24 hours a day because they're looking for information about how to support someone, and
That's right.
that's what we're here for. We want you to know that you can do that. You can call us and we can talk through some options about how do you support your friend who maybe is in a toxic relationship and you've seen this cycle in the relationship and you're worried about them and you're not sure how to help.
Right. Yeah, so that's a really good point to bring up about our crisis line and our advocacy efforts. You don't need to be going through the worst thing of your life to call us. Like it could really be, I'm calling on behalf of someone else, or I'm not even sure if I need help, but I think I might need help. Just call us. We can help you. And if you called us and you need to actually be talking to someone else, we will help you talk to that other person, right? We won't just leave you hanging or hang up the phone, right? We will help you get to the person or the organization that's going to be able to help you with whatever your needs are. And so don't, and we also have a chat line, online through our website, and a text option. Those are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But if you don't like the idea of calling, during those times you can also text or chat online with someone, and sometimes that's a little bit more approachable for people who are a little nervous about talking on the phone. So.
And that website will be
Yes, the website will be on the bottom of the
so
screen.
That's right. You will be able to see exactly where to go.
And speaking of Steppin' Up, if you go to this website on the bottom of the screen, cscnh.org, and click on, there's a tab that says 20th Annual Steppin' Up. That will take you to everything about Steppin' Up, everything that you need around registration, details. There's a flyer, there's a brochure. If you need anything else, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can call our office. You can email info@cscnh.org, and we will get back to you. It might be me, it might be somebody else, but we will get back to you and help you set up your team, set up your page, answer your questions, whatever you need. We're here to help you participate in the way that you can. Don't be shy. If this is your first year, please don't worry. There's a lot of newbies coming. So, we have some old teams that come every year, but we also have some new teams forming this year. So
Absolutely.
That's really exciting, and we would love for you to be a part of that.
And there may be folks listening who are thinking about their business, maybe potentially as a sponsor for the event. We've had anywhere from, when it first started, we had a few dozen people, and now we've had as many as 1,000. So this is a great way to get the name of your organization or your business in front of a lot of people. It's one of the largest events that happens in Sullivan County.
Yes.
So keep that, and you can, again, reach out to us if you think you might be interested in sponsoring at all different levels. and know that, right, it's been a long winter for all of us, and spring is coming, and May 2nd is not far away, and it's a chance to come together as a community. The environment is energizing. We have a survivor who will speak at the beginning and talk about why this event is so important, and there's a way for everyone to participate. So we hope that you'll join us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. See you on May 2nd.